Hey guys, it's me, Nadia Khansa. Welcome back to my channel. Today I am painting 4 little postcard scenes from pictures that I took while traveling in Lebanon. I'm using gouache today. Artesa's 24 color gouache set is my go-to. It's also the only gouache I've tried, to be fair, but that is the one that I'm using for today's video. This was an interesting process for me because I was really excited for this project. I decided to go with gouache because I do want more practice using that medium, and I thought the bright opaque colors would be a really good fit for the vibrant scenes that were photographed by me. And it was kind of a frustrating process. For some reason, I just really struggle with gouache, and I found myself just being a little bit tired by the end of the 4th card and just a little bit glad that the process was over. Overall, I'm still really happy with how they all came out. Unfortunately, 2 of the postcards, my camera just goofed, so you're only going to see the process for painting 2 of them, but you will see all 4 cards at the end of the video. From a technical standpoint, I know that I'm not using enough water with my gouache. I know that if I would just use thinner layers to begin with, that it would be easier in the long term. But that is apparently a lesson that I still need to learn a few more times before really internalizing it. But I mean, it helps to kind of know one of the areas where I am going wrong. I don't feel like it's like I have no idea what I'm doing. I know I've seen tutorials, I've watched some informational videos. I'm just not implementing the things that I should be in the moment. So, and the reason I'm saying this is because I feel like so often things on the internet are only posted if the person is like perfect at it, and I am learning, and that is something that I said in my introduction video, is that I'm learning how to be better at art, and part of that learning is making mistakes and seeing those mistakes with my eyes. That I can see where I went wrong means that I am growing. And at the same time, I think it's important, and I don't think that it's, like, I'm not taking it personally. So I think it's important to be able to, like, look critically at your own work without, like, being sad if it's not perfect, I guess. So that's why, I guess that's a lot of words to say. That's why I still shared the paint making process for these cards, and I'm having kind of like a open and honest dialogue around how this postcard set was a little bit difficult and frustrating for me. I also say this all the time, but I mean, in general, perfection is an impossible standard to meet, and I'm really happy with how these postcards did come out in the end. So who cares if there's room to grow? That's a good thing. There's always room to grow, but how boring would it be if there wasn't room to grow anymore? How boring would it be to get it perfectly right on the first try? So, this particular postcard that I'm painting right now is the, I guess, entrance to the Roman ruins in Baalbek. Al-Ain. So this is not a painting of probably the most popular chunk of that. It's just the entrance, and I thought it was very beautiful. I kind of liked the particular aesthetic of this part of the ruins, but the most iconic part would probably be the Temple of Jupiter. If you've ever seen like a almost freestanding wall of columns, that's probably from the ruins of that temple. It's a very interesting location. It's not just Roman ruins, but throughout history, like different people who have conquered Lebanon have added to it and like added different structures. If you walk around, you can see different, I guess, architectural inspirations that show that it wasn't all built at the same time, which I think is just a little bit neat. There's also a wall of graffiti, I guess is the right word for it. And it's just super cool because you can see the dates and there's like signatures next to the year, like 1640 or something like that, and just interesting. It just feels like part of the history, which you would never think of graffiti as part of that. Well, I mean, some graffiti is beautiful art. This is just people writing like N plus J equals heart forever 2021. But instead of 2021, it's like 1847, which is just cool. I hope those people know that their vandalism added an interesting touch for this, for the rest of time. It was kind of sad to go to this site at the time that I did. It was basically empty. Me and the people that I went with were the only ones there, largely because of the financial crisis happening in Lebanon at the time that I went, and hopefully not by the time that this video comes out, because I am recording this a little bit in advance. But it was jarring. I remember going as a child and just, you know, the concept of being able to take like a picture of anything with no people in it was impossible. And some people might look at that as a like crude silver lining of like, oh, at least you got to take great pictures. But, you know, life isn't about the pictures, because what the pictures tell you when you go to this like beautiful monument and there's no one there. I guess it like was the first time I went to something like this and really felt that it was ruins. You really felt like the absence of people there, and the idea that people used to live, well, like particularly used to like worship at Temple of Jupiter and all of that, but it sinks in differently when there's just like no one there even like looking at it. Because, you know, we're people. So who needs these things that people made without other people there enjoying it? It was just kind of a bit of a bummer. I think that a lot of people have gotten into the habit of zoning out when something bad is happening in the Middle East because I guess people have come to this place where they expect bad things to happen in certain places, when the reality is, like, with the resources that exist in the world, no one really has to suffer the way that certain people in certain places are suffering. If we would just support each other, that would be a non-issue. And I think that another thing that people don't think about is that the Middle East was not always like that. In fact, it's, at least for Lebanon, more recent that it's experiencing the like difficulties that it is right now. Because when you used to think about the Levant and the history of Phoenicians and the Fertile Crescent, like, this is a part of the world that is rich with its history and has been like desired for its beauty and resources throughout time. So how could that be a place where you expect like poverty and starvation to be happening? And I think that people just need to realize that a lot of the time when a place with a rich, deep history of like beautiful land and resources, when they get to a point where people are struggling to eat, that tells you that there was a lot of outside influence that led to that point. For this next postcard, I am painting the view from the roof of my childhood home. It was a view that I just enjoyed a lot as a child, and it was kind of like my safe space. I would go up there and just watch the sunrise, watch like the quiet world from that like high point of view. And I thought I would just capture it because I love all of the pink little roofs, all of the beautiful like evergreen trees, the mountains in the background. To me, when I think of home, like this is the image that comes to mind. So I'm really happy with how this postcard came out. I think that the middle two that I painted that are not in this video, but you will see them in the end. I mean, it's lucky that that's where the footage kind of got a little bit wonky because those were the two that were really frustrating me. But I did like this one a lot, and I liked the one in Baalbek a lot as well. I like the way that I captured like all of those little houses cascading up the mountain. I'm trying to be looser with my paintings and not get stuck on the details, but more on like shapes and colors and like what I'm seeing happening. And for this one in particular, I felt like I was starting to kind of get at what I was starting to like build on a skill that I've been trying to work on, where it wasn't about like outlining every single house that I saw and trying to draw these like small details and like what tiny windows do I see from the distance. It was more like, okay, I see a bunch of tiny pink roofs. Let me just do a couple of lines in the distance to like indicate where those are. I think in the past I've said that I really like looking at my like watercolor or my palette, the ceramic palette after during a painting. But I gotta be honest, this one's kind of ugly. These colors just look really dank, I think is the word that I'm looking for, but they look pretty on the painting. So in a previous video, I know that I mentioned that sometimes the palette looks even better than the painting itself. I definitely don't think that's the case with this one. I think the painting looks better than the palette, so I guess that's a pat on the back I can give myself since there were some difficulties with this mini collection. I also wish that I had just done this one earlier. While I had more energy, I think that I would have probably just done a better job with it. I mean, you can see that time has passed because my nail polish has been removed. So this is obviously not done in the same sitting as the last one, but still, mentally, I was tired with the project by the time I got to this one, and I just liked the concept a lot, so if I could do it over, I would have given more time to this one, I think. This is in Stura, by the way, for people who are familiar with Lebanon in any capacity. Okay, well, these are all of the cards. So this is Baalbek, Zahle. This one was taken in Jnub and Stura. Thank you guys for watching with me, and I'll see you in the next one.